parents gave me Beatles records when I was a kid, and that just, took off from there.
Hello everyone, I am your DM4Hire, and today we have a very special interview here within the very store known as Java Game Haus, located in Old St. Augustine Road here in Jacksonville, Florida. And today I have a very special guest of a man that most will say deserves no introduction, been featuring many projects such as Code Geass, many Batman projects including Batman Brave and the Bold, and most recently in a couple of musical productions in regards of Critical Role and many others. And of course, I'm talking about no other than Jason Charles Miller. Jason,
Hello.
welcome to the show.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
Good.
I like that intro.
Thank
Pretty
you.
good.
Thank you. It's that time of year again. Performing and everything, being on the road. How's that been going for you?
It's been going great. Yeah. Really, it hasn't stopped this year because besides touring to promote the new album, I will have gone to Japan twice this year, China, South Korea, and all over the U.S. So wow. It's been Atlanta. I mean, it's been quite the whirlwind.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, amongst being on the road 24/7 and also working 24/7, and talk into that about your voice acting career, which has been very spontaneous and rather huge, like gallery of works that I've been a part of, like I mentioned earlier with Code Geass and Batman Brave and the Bold. Like how for yourself that you've got into the world of voice acting, and especially either for many years of your experience or even in today's productions.
Yeah, I like to consider myself the Clint Howard of voice acting. That's Ron Howard's brother, who's in like 1 or 2 episodes of everything. Because I'm usually in 3 or 4 episodes of something before I die, or I disappear, or never go anywhere again. Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, definitely not.
Oh, yeah.
Keep it in my sight at all times. But yeah, it's been. We just did a show here, by the way, at Java Game Haus.
So we'll be getting to that in a minute.
Doing a concert, but I'm very lucky that one of my many side hustles, as they say, or side jobs, is also in entertainment. At least I'm able to sort of keep everything under that one big entertainment bubble.
Oh yeah, that's what it's all about. Keeping the joy of entertaining others and just having fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of get into like the origins of that. Like how, going into it of like pop culture, which you've been a part of, with Metal Gear Rising being one of the biggest examples in regards to music. And my next question here, like with the genre of music that you perform, which for most of you may or may not know is rock and roll. Like how did you get into the genre of rock?
I mean, since I was born, like my parents gave me Beatles records when I was a kid, and that just, took off from there. It's just something I always wanted to do.
Oh man! So again, with the mention of the Beatles, what would you say is like it's the most influential album that you heard from their discography?
Probably Sgt. Pepper.
Ooh,
for sure.
That's a good one.
Whether you realize it or not, you're influenced by the Beatles if you're a modern musician, because they sort of set the blueprint of everything that we do today.
Yeah, pretty much follow everything. Like after Beatles, we have the likes of Fleetwood Mac and Led Zeppelin, and many others that you would even consider be a second blueprint that pretty much the Beatles was the foundation.
Well, and Fleetwood Mac and Led Zeppelin are two of my other favorite bands, so you nailed it on the head.
Oh yeah. They're pretty much even. Led Zeppelin was inspired by that of the likes of Lord of the Rings. So
I've got a Lord of the Rings reference in my new album too.
Ooh,
so
okay.
I've had a few along the way that I've snuck in.
Very nice, very nice. Heck yeah. And of course, speaking of the fantasy genre, the likes of Lord of the Rings and everything, especially outside of just voice acting and being a musician, you're also a very big fan of Dungeons and Dragons.
I am,
whether it be 2nd edition or AD&D 2nd edition. and currently the 5th edition, which as of this month is going into its new rendition of 2024 D&D, or
Right.
D&D 5.5, as some may call it. So, excuse me. My next question for you is, asking like, how did you get into the world of Dungeons and Dragons, and what got you into the hobby?
Yeah. So my cousin, when I was about 8 years old, taught me the game and never stopped playing it.
Wow.
And then now I'm a professional at it. So it's kind of wild to me, but it,
Yeah.
it's fun.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. And plus, earlier before your show, you ran a one shot for those of Java Game Haus here in our store, right next to the main cafe known as the event room.
Mm-hmm.
And you ran a one shot for about 4 hours within the city of Waterdeep. So, amongst Waterdeep and the many settings that D&D has offered for its players and even dungeon masters to kind of explore and play into, like, what would you say is like the best setting to throw a player into the world of like the Faerun?
Yeah, I mean, Faerun's a great setting in general. The Sword Coast. I mean, there's so much meat there, and there's so much lore attached to that. The Sword Coast is great, and I encourage people to write their own material as well. And I have a lot of homebrew material. And like when I run D&D in a castle, I always write a new adventure for that.
Oh wow!
So anytime someone goes to D&D in the castle with me, they're going to get a brand new adventure each time.
That's it. And great you mentioned that, because another big content creator, Miss Chinny D, she recently got to perform at D&D in a castle, running a original creation.
Yeah, we actually were there back to back. So after she did it, then I did it right after. So we saw each other for like a day.
Oh wow!
Particular one. I just saw her video on that.
Yeah.
It is a lot of pressure. Like she put a lot of her video on that was great because when you think about how much money each player is spending to play with you,
$4,000.
Yeah, you're like, oh God, I need to make sure that they have a good time. And you end up really just getting inside your own head. So I sympathized and empathized with every single part of that video that she put out.
Oh yeah, and many other creators too. Having a lot of pressure as a dungeon master to bring the best for players and everything. Even similar cases of that, known as the Matt Mercer effect, where DMs are always put on like a high expectation and stuff. And again, you professionally as a dungeon master for almost like 5-10 years at this point.
I guess, yeah.
Like, what would be like
wild, right?
I know. I've been a professional dungeon master for about 4 years now, and ever since I started the brand about 2 years ago, which will be coming up next month, it's been immaculate of being able to go place to place, and a bunch of people come in and put on a game that at the end of it, like, they just are very thankful that they get to have a fun experience, not only getting to explore this world of, like, whether it be Waterdeep from your recent game, for example, or in Barovia and Curse of Strahd, or in the Feywild, like the Witch-like Carnival. So my next question for you is advice for new up and coming dungeon masters that are getting into the hobby, or players that are getting into Dungeons and Dragons. Like, what would be your guidance, no pun intended, to bring them into the world of Dungeons and Dragons?
So don't over prepare, because anything that you plan, they're going to do the opposite of what you plan. It's not to say that I don't over prepare, because I do all the time, but I give yourself a nice lattice work of where you want the adventure to go, but they're going to take it in places that you never even imagined. And also, don't be afraid to move things around on the fly. If you've created a 50-room dungeon and you realize that it's like 4 o'clock in the morning and they're only in room 5, well, maybe the big boss is in room 6 now instead of room 50. Don't be afraid to to mix and match and to take it and let your players lead where it's going to go.
Oh, that's wonderful. Like letting the players like as a cooperative storytelling in a way where you have the book itself and you have it set up of like, all right, here's how this chapter goes, and then the players, interacting with that chapter, they can go from page 1 to like page 10.
Mm-hmm.
That's an amazing way to look at it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Wow. So, and of course, earlier mentioning about myself as a brand going on 2 years now, and before that, we've had like amazing content creators like Miss Ginny B that I mentioned earlier, Critical Role, which has been the foundation for D&D content creators and how has skyrocketed ever since 2014. Of course, many other content creators too, like Legends of Eventress, who have been blowing up as of late with their Witchlight campaign and their one-shots with the many, great cast of characters like Chuckles the Clown and, Gideon the Fire Genasi. It's amazing to see how much popularity D&D has become as of late, especially during the pandemic and especially during like the later years with the new edition coming out. And for you being a big fan of D&D for over almost 40, 30 years at this point, not to, guess your age politely.
You can look it up on Wikipedia. It's not hard.
Yeah, it's right here. So, but yeah, like where do you see Dungeons and Dragons or tabletop gaming as a whole going in like the next 5 to 10 years?
I think that the popularity of it will always ebb and flow. It's definitely it's in a golden age right now. Mm-hmm. The popularity of anything, always has its peaks and valleys, Yeah. So, but I see the amazing amount of content creators that are involved now, and it's only elevating the game to the newer heights.
Oh yeah. Especially recently, I've been getting into Marvel Multiverse RPG, and the classic 3d6 system, or the 616 system as they call it, because they have a one special die for it. I've been having a lot of fun with that, like exploring different tabletop games and
there's the Essence 20 system.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great systems out there.
Oh yeah, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. So, and of course, before we do cap off on our interview here. Is there anything you'd like to, give a shout out to, or anything you'd like to share to our audience?
Yeah, thanks for watching, and like I said, make sure that you keep on your toes as a new DM. You're gonna experience things that you never thought anyone would possibly do, and you just got to roll with it.
Oh yeah. So again, thank you, Jason, for joining the show, and hopefully again we'll meet each other in the future.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
And of course, to our Dungeoneers out there, getting to watch our first interview here for DM4Hire Incorporated. Thank you guys for watching, and of course, make sure to like, follow, and keep up the news with our latest dungeon crawl adventures, or even outside of the world of tabletop gaming. Take care.